Pleasant good morning, everyone. My name is Okara Duncan, Digital Transformation Analyst here with the Ministry of Digital Transformation. I just want to welcome all of our in-person attendees at the ICT Access Centers across Trinidad and Tobago, and of course, here on the Zoom, our online attendees. Now, this is our second installation of Cybersecure Saturdays, which this is an initiative of the Ministry of Digital Transformation in commemoration of Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So every Saturday this month of October, we have so many expert-led workshops being delivered to you on the domain of cybersecurity. So welcome again, everyone. Happy to see a couple faces and and names that I would have remembered from the last session. So thank you guys for coming on very early. And today we do have a really lovely session. So just before we give some opening remarks on behalf of the ministry, I just want to get into a few housekeeping rules today. So in terms of certificate award, one of the main things is while we're using the Zoom platform today, I want to ensure that everybody is using their full name or either the name that you would have utilized when you registered. So if you can rename yourselves for persons who aren't showing up as their full name or the name they would have utilized to register, please rename yourself. If you want to know how to do that, you can just click the participants button. And if you hover over your name and you click, you should see the option more, you would see that option to rename. So I just like to urge everyone to rename yourself as your full name or the name that you would have utilized to register for the session this morning. That will allow us to, just make sure that we have everybody accounted for and that the accurate name comes up on your certificate when certificates are being delivered. Also, as well, for today's speaker, questions will be, there's a whole question and answer session at the end. So what I would like you guys to do is if you have any questions today, just put it in the chat and they will be compiled by myself, the moderator. And once the speaker is finished giving his presentation, we would have a full question and answer session. So any questions today, we won't be answering questions throughout the presentation. Just leave it in the chat and your questions will be answered, providing that they weren't answered already in the presentation given by the speaker. As well, of course, mute your microphones when you're not speaking. Respectful communication is always the go-to here. Stay engaged and participate, and especially for our online members and even those in the access centers, try to avoid any distractions at all because we have a really engaging session for you guys today and we want your undivided attention. So at this point in time, I'd like to invite Mr. Ajay Maraj, who is a digital transformation analyst in the Digital Security and Technology Unit here at the Ministry of Digital Transformation, to give opening remarks on behalf of the ministry. Ajay, over to you.
Hello, a lovely good morning to everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I would like to start by warmly welcoming everyone, whether you're here in person, participating online, or watching the pre-recorded session at a later time. A warm welcome to all, and all protocols are duly observed. I'd like to extend a heartfelt thank you to the Ministry of Digital Transformation along with our key cybersecurity partners for giving us the opportunity to host this exciting and amazing series of workshops throughout Saturdays in October. A special shout out goes out to the amazing staff, especially those from the Access Center, for being here to support today's initiative and serve the communities. Today marks the continuation of an important initiative in cybersecurity, and we're more than eager to hear your thoughts and feedback so we can continue to improve on how we deliver these sessions. I'd also like to extend a token of appreciation for your participation, as all attendees will receive a certificate for each workshop they attend. We just ask that you stay engaged and that everyone take part fully in the experience. The ministry encourages everyone to stay cyber aware and keep informed on how to protect yourself in the digital world. Through these workshops, we hope to promote the good usage of the Access Center across Trinidad and Tobago. By this time next year, our aim is to reach even more communities across Trinidad and Tobago and potentially expand our efforts on a regional level. So, at this time, without further ado, I'm excited to hand things over to our partner to kick things off for today's workshop. This is the second of four in this month long series. Before we dive in, however, I'd like to take a moment to introduce Checkpoint Software Technologies Limited, a global leader in cybersecurity and IT solutions. Checkpoint is renowned worldwide for its innovative technologies that protect people, businesses, and nations. With a strong reputation for building secure, reliable, and scalable infrastructures, Checkpoint is at the forefront of empowering digital transformation across industries. From advanced cybersecurity solutions to cutting edge IT software, Checkpoint's dedication to innovation helps organizations improve their risk management processes, security, and agility in today's fast paced digital world. Their expertise and leadership make them an invaluable partner in our mission to promote cybersecurity awareness and resilience. And now, without further ado, I'd like to invite Mr. Travis Suku to introduce himself and share a little bit more about today's workshop. So, Trav, over to you. Take it away. Thank you and welcome.
And Ajay, thank you very much for that warm and well presented introduction to Checkpoint. With respect to who I am, I'm Travis Suku, as I said, and I am a security engineer and advisor for the Caribbean region. I work with companies across our region here to advise on risk and advise on proper, actually, how to help organizations stay secure. Um, and Ajay has said a lot about Checkpoint already, but uh, one thing I'll let you know is that the firewall, the modern day firewall, was actually invented by our CEO and founder, that's Gil Shwed, and by him and two of his other friends, and They built Checkpoint out of a garage back in 1993. So since then, we've been innovative and we keep abreast of any trends and new types of attacks. We secure lots of businesses globally, and our customers trust us based on um, our our entire organization is mostly made up of researchers and developers to research new attacks. So I'll talk a bit more about us in shortly. So um, I think that's enough introductions for me. What we're going to talk about is specifically around mobile security, and I believe nobody here would not have a mobile, right? I'm sure maybe you have at least one device on you, and most times we have these devices that are part of our life. We take it with us everywhere. In the bathroom. You'd be lonely without it, right? Otherwise, you'd go back to the old days of I don't know if you guys do this, but you'd read if there was a shampoo bottle next to you, you'd read that or the air freshener or anything else. So it has become an integral part, but most times we don't secure it well. What I'm hoping through this presentation is to highlight some of these areas and then talk about some ways that you could keep yourself secure and you don't spend a lot of money or close to zero, right? So, agenda wise, we'll be talking about why mobile security matters. And as I said, we'll talk about some threats, tips for securing your mobile. And again, we'll try and keep it at $0, right? And then we'll follow up with a Q&A and a conclusion. But right before the Q&A, what I'll do is I know you probably didn't plan for this, but you'll get a pop quiz. All right. So hopefully it's hopefully you do some homework or listen attentively. And one more item. At the end of the presentation, my team add Zone Alarm, and Zone Alarm is our consumer com, consumer arm or subdivision. So they provide solutions for protecting your home desktops, your phones, non-business or non-enterprise. So I'll be giving away around 100 licenses of that, and I'll show you the code shortly. So Okero would have told you how to address your questions. Feel free to write them in the chat, and we'll discuss them after. Now, one thing, if there's any emergency, I know those who are joining from the access centers, the staff there will guide you accordingly. But if you're at home, obviously, you know where to go, right? So prioritize life and them first. Now, I need you guys' help first of all. And I know we just start, we now met, but I asking for help. So if you could go to this site called menti.com and enter this code. We're gonna run a short quiz just to start. All right, and I'll give you guys a minute to get in there. And I'll bring the screen up. So you should see the instructions on your screen now. Nice, thank you. The count is going up, nice. So, as I said, I just want to verify that that you could access it and all the checkboxes on the platform are working well. All right, good. So, first question. Just you guys let's test this. So, I would hope you guys know this the answer to this question. So, if someone is having a baby, what kind of news is that?
Travis, I don't know if you mean to, but you would have muted your mic again, huh?
All right. Thank you, Okara.
No problem.
All right, more Android than iPhone. And both. Nice. So I'm not an Android and versus iPhone guy. I I'll put that in the chat, Cheryl. So I put the link and the code in the chat if you didn't get it. And that's if anybody requires it, Okara.
Sure, no problem.
All right, so we have the majority of users on Android, and that's not bad. So I have both have strengths. All right, so now specifically, do you pay your bills, bank, or use your credit card online and using your phone? I should probably vote in that too. It'd be interesting to know. For those who say no, you use your computer, you do it the old school way, which is go into the office and pay it, right? Oops, apologies. All right, last question. So, do you have things on your phone, whether it be photos or okay, that was quick, that you don't want to be shared? I know I have some photos there. If it were to come out, you just see me looking as if Saint Anne is missing a patient. But yeah, I would answer no, at least from my side. All right, excellent. Wow, this count going up, boy. All right, so I will stop the. Well, you guys continue voting if you want, but uh, let me go back to here. So thank you for testing with me and sharing some of those questions. By the way, I didn't mention this. That poll is anonymous. All right, so um, yeah, I'm not recording your names. I don't believe it would have asked you for your username. So there's nothing specific to you. All right, so getting into the crux of the our conversation this morning. Now, all right. So what's the cyber attacks? You probably hearing it in the news, hearing it in the media. But what's this? Um, and this is one of the most lucrative forms in which the attackers are actually receiving funds. As a cyber crime, right? But I'll give you an idea as to the attack surface or the landscape that we see now. So within 2023, moving into this year, we had a 30% year-on-year increase in cyber attacks. And this is, if you notice the graph below, the this graph shows that it in the last between the months of April to June, there was around over 1,600 weekly attacks. This is not on average for a lot of companies. This is per company. So in 1 week, a company would be attacked via cyber over 1,600 times. Now, the top three most attacked uh, industries or sectors were around universities on education and research, right? Government and military, and then healthcare. Now, within our region, which is Latin America and Caribbean, our attack surface has increased by 53% year on year. And if you look at my little attempt to meme on the side, on the right, the total cost of cyber attacks, whether it was to pay the attackers or to fix the issues that were associated with the attack, estimated to be around 8 trillion US dollars last year. Now, I can't even count the amount of doubles that is, right? Now, the thing, for many years since I've been in cyber, and I didn't even say this, I've been in IT and tech and cyber for around 25 years, by the way. Right. So over my career and speaking with anybody in the Caribbean, most people would say we too small in the Caribbean. Nobody here want to attack us. So, with that said, I'll focus specifically on Trinidad. Last year, the Attorney General's office and the Ministry of Legal Affairs in July experienced a massive cyber attack, and they were offline for a couple months. The Southwest Regional Health Authority was also attacked in October, and they were asked to pay around $7 million to release the data which the attackers stole. TSCT, you might have seen in the media during the inquiry, they also experienced a massive cyber attack in October, and they didn't stop, right? The attackers didn't stop. They continued into November, attacking courts and then National Insurance Board to round out the year. So no longer are we just some little islands floating in the sea, and nobody taking notice. Now, I've said all of this to global cyber attacks, regional, but how is it concerning to you? The attackers have moved from the big fish, which is usually takes a lot more time, to the low hanging fruit, or to us. And how they've done it, they've used different tools and techniques to infiltrate your phone. Now, you see the first point there. As every time I see this first line when I was putting this in, I thought about my childhood days. Some of you might remember there used to be a call service where you pay $1 a minute, right? At 1 TT or $1, and when you call into it, you could play a game via the phone, and they'll tell you a story, and you press different numbers to battle and all these things. Now, being the fool I was, and probably still am, I used to call that number and play the little games because you didn't think it was $1. You didn't know, and obviously I'd get a little cocktail after, right? Because you run up your mother phone bill. In the same way, attackers they do so. There's a technique similar that they do when they get onto your phone. So they dial into paid services and draw down the money. So top up $100 2 minutes after you see $1 in your phone. Or TSCT robbing you out. Or did you sell? Now, we talked about the information on your phone. So I ask about photos and I ask about pain. If we were in a room together and I ask how many of you knows someone who's gotten their Facebook or their Instagram account stolen, or they get hacked, right? That's most people would say, oh, I got my Facebook hacked or my Instagram hacked, and I'm sure a lot of you would say you all know someone. How you get to know it is, uh, you'd see them. This person never sell anything. They normal, and they start to sell umbrella, china, ring stove, crypto, all these things on their social media profile. They and by the way, this what the attackers do when they steal these accounts is to use it to one promote some products or promote some scam, and then try to infect your friends and your family. So banking information and credit cards as well. They are targeting you to be able to draw money from you, and we'll see an example further in the presentation. And similar to social media, where they use your profile to gain access to others, they attempt to use your phone to attack other phones. And again, with the question I would have put before, some of those photos you have on your phone, they will extort, or they will say, if you don't pay, I'll publish this. Now I'll take a little more somber note here, with the published photos point. I'll tell you something a bit serious. So a real thing that's going on right now, and as you see, if you see in the article, it resulted in 27 suicides, and this is something targeting teenagers, or in and not only teenagers but in between, right at 11 and going up. What they attempt to do is steal photos, one, but in this case they get you to send photos of yourself personally. When I mean personally, very personally, right? And what they'll do is, when they have those photos, they'll say, "Listen, either pay me money or I'm going to publish this." And they will ask for small amounts, right? They will ask for a few hundred, but it might be in US in a higher currency. These kids can't. Some of these kids don't have that kind of money, and what they'll do is threaten them: if you don't, we're gonna publish. The ramifications of it. And if we think back to our school days, I'm sure some of you are in school, but all, us who've passed through school, the reputational damage of those photos going online, if we are to, if we think back to those days, as I said, it is death in school, right? Your street credit rep might be gone. And the embarrassment of that is what drives some of these kids to take their own life. Now, in the scripts that these attackers use, or these nefarious attackers, they actually guide you and say, well, if you want, go kill yourself. They actually guide you to this. So these are some of the things that we face now in our society. So what we'll talk about here is the actual threats that you need to be aware of. Right. So hopefully I think two things will come out of this. One, you'll be aware, you'll have a knowledge of some of the attacks. But two, you might be, uh, your mindset might shift. Paranoia might be, my onset paranoia might set in, right? So we're gonna talk about malware and or malicious software and how they are embedded within each stage of attacks, and how fake apps and games could increase your risk of attack. And then we'll talk about the most common way most people fall for which is phishing and smishing. I don't know if you know about the risk with public Wi-Fi. We're going to talk about that. And yes, cables. You're seeing right, charging cables, how dangerous they could be. So the first thing we'll talk on is malware, and malware is short for malicious software. It it refers to this software actually is aimed at either, well, infecting your devices first of all, but preventing you from using the device and having them own your device, steal your data, and um, basically track you and know about every move you make. Most of the times, the essence of it is to either destroy or for financial gain. So through fake apps, through different types of apps, even apps side-loaded, uh, this malware could be installed on your phone, and phishing links. So when you click on links, you get sent to a page to download another file, and these phishing could be in your WhatsApp, your emails, your text messages. Some of them chain messages you'll see also has some of these links, right? Through using public Wi-Fi or unsecure Wi-Fi, they could redirect you to links that they want you to go to be able to download uh, this malware. And as I said with WhatsApp, opening suspicious email or messages links, and those forwards, some of them have those links inside them, and most of us, you forward it over us, hey, check this funny thing, or let's see what happened here, and you have a link there. We might get catch and click the link, right? Now, types of malware. These are by no means an exhaustive list. There's more, but main categories to look at is spyware, which which tracks all your movements, whether it's your location, your information on your phone, where you go, like a real jealous person. I'll leave it at that. It also records your conversation. So while you're on the phone, you're talking with your friends, you're talking with your family, you're talking your business. They record and all of this. Adware is just annoying. Um, if you've seen gone to a site and you've seen so many pop-ups, this is primarily what adware is. They will litter your phone with pop-ups and slow it down. Trojans is a reference to the great Trojan horse in Troy. It looks good, um, monumental, but inside hides something detrimental. And one of the biggest and well-known pieces of malware is ransomware. And across the Caribbean, this has been one of the biggest perpetrators of attacks, or the vectors of attack. And primarily what it does, it it connects to your, well, it infects your phone, takes files that you have on your phone, so pictures of babies, your videos, your great grandmother, and you sit down listen to parang. It takes a lot of those photos, your documents, um, and encrypts it, or makes it unusable to you. And in order to get access to be able to use it once more, you have to pay a ransom, or you have to pay money. Now, quick signs that you may have some malware on your device. Sluggish performance, right? So your phone might be it used to move fast and then it's moving slow. And then with that, you'd see you buy a phone, 3 days battery life, then it just cut down to 1 day. Now, I don't want you to take these as red flags fully yet. If your phone is about 10 years old, I mean, that'd be rude, right? We kind of find a middle ground here. So you might experience some sluggish and battery, so it might be malware. But if you have your phone and you notice behaviors as such, then it's cause for concern and also to do some investigation. If you see pop-up ads on your phones, if you just seen ads just coming up randomly, this is also a sign that you could have adware on your device, whether it's your phone or your PC. Take a note of the apps as well. If you start to see apps that you never installed, this could be a sign that the malware is trying to replicate and or install further apps to gain greater access to information. Now, a best practice for me is monthly. I try to reset the statistics on my network, on my phone network, whether it is on mobile data or Wi-Fi. And what that does for me is I'm able to track what my data usage is, whether it's on Wi-Fi or on mobile, on data, right? So I'll be able to also see the apps there. Now, if there are apps that I do recognize that I've installed and never use, right? We have a lot of ghost apps that we install and say, we'll play with it and then never do it. If you start to see some apps communicating, you could pinpoint exactly, all right, maybe this app could be something bad. So fake apps. This is one thing that used to happen a while back, and it's still prevalent. But it is similar to a Trojan horse, right? It looks like an app. It looks like one that you could use it that's trusted, but it's really not. It's a lookalike, and its point is to do the same thing. Expand on malware, right? Basically, have malware, steal your data, track your location, record your conversations, and or cause harm. And cause harm meaning can't use the phone. Now, a few ways to see these fake apps, right? And we'll talk about them further down. But one way is when you install an app, why it is sudo who needs my camera, or they need to access my contacts. Far more so, why a flashlight app need to know have history, the my call log history. You know what I mean, I don't know if the phone gonna call the flashlight need to let somebody know I using the flashlight, you know, or even record it my mic access. These are some of the ways you can recognize it. Now, I'll give you a few quick points and we'll talk about it further down. If an app, um, if you see an app that is popular and it looks almost similar, there's a few things to do to know. Excuse me, to know if it is a fake app, right? Um, actually, I'm preempting what we'll talk about further. And also, if an app offers a lot of free offers and discounts by installing it, there's things to be aware of. Now we'll talk about one of the biggest vectors of attack and the easiest by far to be able to grab your attention, and that's phishing. So phishing is a type of scam where attackers try to trick you into clicking a link or getting you to do something in order to gain access to your device or to gain access to your info. And again, if we recall the info they're looking for, your bank history, your bank information, credit cards, right? In the case of them trying to get monetary advantages over you. But the links may also direct you to download some type of malware for them to gain a foothold on your device. Now, phishing is usually spread via emails, text messages, through other sites as well, and SMS, WhatsApp, and I mentioned those before, right? And as I said, it is one of the most common ways because it's easy to click on a link for most of us. Sometimes it's a second nature. You just, oh, what's this? All right, I'll just click it, and you're doing in the middle of something, you just click the link and leave it to the side. Now, one of the ways, before I move on, besides the fake messages, they'll try to force you into taking an action, and you'll actually, I think you'll remember one of these force action messages as we go along, but they will usually put a time period or an immediate time to respond in those messages, and also when you click on a link, a lot of the times the site that they want you to believe this is what you'll see. So it looks exactly as such. Now, before we move on, help me again. Let's do a quick check on. Oh, here we are. Let's do a quick test and see if you could find a phishing link. So if you could go back to your Menti, and I want if you could answer which one is the real site. All right, so I'll give you guys a minute on that. I see some of you having fun with that fake link. All right, so unfortunately, most of you were able to recognize the real link, right? So the second one, we'll see it now. Oops. Not pop quiz yet. You hit enter here. So the correct answer is actually that first one, that option one. And if you notice in that picture, accounts are G00GLE. Similar name, right? And this is how a phishing link would look. So again, thanks guys for jumping in there. All right. Next, we move. So what I'm going to do is show you guys a quick video. Now, what you saw there is traditionally how phishing links look. You'd see a discrepancy in the URL. You'd see a discrepancy in maybe a few items would change on the page. Yeah. But it's almost similar, right? Now the attackers have actually found a new way to trick you. So yeah, I'll explain as we go along, right? So in this first one, the attack, this is real site. If you notice at the top there, accounts.google.com. Now he's gonna enter the bad link, and if you notice here, let me pause here if I can. If you notice here, the actual link is at the top bar. So he put a link in the top bar, and then you saw this screen come up. Now it looks as the real one we just saw, right? But in actuality, it's not. So they'll identify this is the phishing site. So let me pause here again. If you notice, he can't type inside that box, inside the address bar there. He could copy, he could engage with it, but he can't. The actual real link is at the top there. So what this is actually a pop-up, and so when you click the link, it will pop up, and you'll see it looks. You see the URL, so it's a little harder to say, all right, is this account? Or is it really Google? So in the example we looked at in the quiz, you saw accounts.g00, but not in this one, right? So this is a new way in which they are trying to trick you. So as you saw, that was the phishing side, and if you notice, so the phishing side does not have the tab there. Now this might, I mean, um, nowadays most times you'd see the image on your right in your browser, right? You'll see a tab. This one has none on the one on the left. All right. So next one, oops, preempting the good parts, right? So this one is smishing. And all smishing is just phishing the fancy name. Not really, but almost, right? So it's phishing, but being sent in a SMS form. So using SMS. So the term, instead of saying phishing, we identified SMS phishing. In May 2018, across Trinidad, some of you may have received the message that you see on the left. It was listed from Scotiabank Trinidad. Now, I don't know about you, but it's tt.scotiabank.com, right? Oh, as if we recognize from what I said about phishing, they gave you a time-sensitive item to deal with, and that is we have blocked your access to your Scotia card, right? Now that's imperative. If my card not working, what gonna happen? I go down by the people, I buy some food, right? Imagine I go go to get bacon shack. I go to pay, they look at the hand me my bacon shack and my card not working. That pressure for me, I hungry, right? Especially after you jump and play in the water. So in this case, they send us and they give you this time sensitive item to kind of force you to take action immediately and don't even think about it. Just click, right? And a lot of locals would have clicked on the link, and within there, now I don't know what it had in the link, and didn't click it. Maybe I should, so I would know, right? But what I've heard is that it asks for you to enter your credentials to log into the bank. So again, they were able to steal credentials from lots of us. Now, more recently, I think most of you would have seen the message on your right. Now, TT Post, by the way, is ttpost.net. If we notice, you have an order, and it gives you, again, a time constraint. You need to respond within 24 hours, otherwise you're losing this package. Again, you might click the link. But if we notice on the link, hostel.lol, I don't know, LOL, I mean, they're making jokes, right? But this was another attempt at attacking us. So what we look at is some of the consequences in smishing and phishing, right? Not specifically for smishing only. In this next slide.
She's just clicked on the phishing link. Any moment now, and malware will be downloaded to her phone. I'll be able to see everything. Messages, emails, contacts, bank details, online shopping, social media logins, job applications, all sorts. Ooh. Have a look. Watch this. Here we go. Married. Applying for a new job. She won't get that. Earning 48 grand a year. Okay, so online shopping details, yep. Social media logins, yep. Bank details, great. Now, first things first, we'll pay ourselves a little something. £80 should do it. Ka-ching! We'll empty out the account, hack our friends, and copy the credit card details later. Might even do some reputational damage. She's going to be paying for a long time for this one. You know the best thing about this, right?
Hi.
She's oblivious.
Yeah, good, thanks. How are you?
And me? Well, I'm not even here.
All right, hopefully that has raised some concerns on your part, right? So while this was a scripted video, you see the importance of it. Everything that he said, there are things that the attackers will do. And as I said, I think the when I mentioned the more somber note of what they do, the extortion that they will do to end users, and this is, I mean, this is not only for attackers, people who want to do ill or have ill intentions towards you. These are means and methods they could use. So last one. Now, I know you all would have seen me put some QR codes before. Uh, I, I was gonna say Agaya, but no, I'll be honest, right? Those are safe links, and you can take my word, but QR codes can be a vector for spreading false and malicious links. So we know QR codes as just quick response codes, and we know the functionality they provide, right? You could be able to pay. You could just look at the QR codes, click on it, and you could send money. You could get other functionalities. But the main one that the attackers exploit, besides automatic payments, is or easier payments, not automatic, is embedding phishing links in those. Right? Some of you might get worried, right? Because you seeing QR codes as a vector. And A few QR codes already passed. The one saving grace is that you get a link when you see the QR code, right? So you know it's safe. All right. So how to spot some phishing and smishing? And I would have mentioned a bit about this before, but look at those links. And most of them, if you hover over it, you'll see in the case of Scotiabank Trinidad, the real site is tt.scotiabank.com, or whichever region you are in. They usually append or prepend the country code at the beginning. Yeah. So look at those URLs. Now, if it doesn't match the site, then you know, hey, first red flag, right? You approach each link with a sense of doubt, and let it build into trust. Then you saw the urgency in the other messages, both Scotiabank and the TT Post, that they ask you do this now, to act quickly, or else something will be wrong, right? The other point to note is a lot of times, as you would have seen in the video, the guy was not even there. A lot of times when the attackers are sending you these notes, they're not in an English speaking country. They are some other language, they speak some other language. English is not their native, and they might be translating from their language into English. So another point to look for is if Scotiabank is sending you, and I'm not picking on Scotiabank, I just had them as an example, right? But if Scotiabank is sending you a note or a message, the English, you would expect them to speak, well, Caribbean English. You would have words without appending an is or an are, or the misuse of a plural. So another flag to note. This last point, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, there was some messages circulating, and some of you may have gotten it on your phone. Hopefully, you did not take the scam up, right? I guess when you're on this call, you didn't, but they were offering, I think it was £1 million for you to transfer some money to them, and they would transfer back to you. So that was the gist of the scam. But they will obviously you'll go back and forth with them, and they'll say, "I'll send you this money. I need to help move in $1 million or £1 million." This was actually one that it was, as I said, was done 2 years ago. So hopefully at the end of this phishing and smishing, you have a bit more information to work on, or at least identify them. What we're gonna jump on to is now public Wi-Fi, and I'll give you a little video on this one as well. Why you should be concerned, right?
Well, we've been warned repeatedly that using free public Wi-Fi can put our personal information at risk. But facing a choice of using up our data or connecting with free Wi-Fi, most of us take the gamble.
So what is the risk? WBZ's Christina Hager got a lesson from a real-life hacker.
The risk for the public networks is because they're out there, they're open, unencrypted. An attacker can join it just as easily as you can.
And that's exactly what we did with the help of hacking expert Steve Walker.
I can see all the different networks out there, all the different clients, and which one do I want to look like?
Wicked free Wi-Fi is available here on the Boston Common, and Steve created his own imposter version with a laptop and small device anyone can buy online.
And that didn't take too long.
No, it didn't take long at all.
Anyone closer to his signal than the one the city is blasting out will only see the fake, wicked free Wi-Fi option. And if your device connected to the real system in the past, it could even automatically join this rogue Wi-Fi network.
So you just called it the same thing?
Yeah.
Or is there any slight difference?
Nope.
While the name is exactly the same, the login page is different.
And that's my login page that I gave you.
For Steve's fake Wi-Fi, he created these two phishing links to Facebook and Gmail.
I could sign in here, and now you know my Facebook password.
That's right. Password was Hager.
Yeah, C. Hager, that's my name.
Steve is seeing every letter as I type it.
Could you be a fake business and take someone's credit card information?
Yep.
And even if you don't fall for the links, once you're connected to the imposter Wi-Fi, he knows your every online move.
You're going to Google.
Anything I'm reading, you can see what I'm interested in.
Yep.
This vulnerability can be exposed through any free and open Wi-Fi at coffee shops, stores, airports, hotels, anywhere.
There's always a risk when you join any type of public Wi-Fi.
If you do join, cyber defense expert Peter Tran recommends turning off any file sharing apps. And for iPhone users, this means AirDrop.
And if you're going to be on public Wi-Fi, make sure you're not working with sensitive data or things that you normally would not want to just share with everybody.
And before typing in credit card numbers or passwords, look at the address bar and make sure you see this lock, meaning the website is secure. On Steve's fake Google page, the address bar didn't even have that lock. And instead of google.com, you only see a series of numbers. That's a big red flag. All of this adds up to the reason for this advice.
If you don't have to get on public Wi-Fi, don't do it.
Christina Hager, WBZ News.
All right. So, well, we'll address the lock shortly. But key item to note, if you join a public Wi-Fi, a lot of the information that you pass, and this is always he was able, the hacker, or the ethical hacker, and why I say ethical is because he does it to find those flaws and expose them, right? So key point, as I said, a lot of the communication you do across Wi-Fi could be intercepted and read. And now the last point I put in the agenda, well, at least in the threats, was concerning physical or actually the cables. And this guy here is someone I look at a lot. If you are interested in cybersecurity, he does have a lot of great tutorials. So I'll leave it at this. If you believe cables were sacred, those charging cables, this might change your mind.
Be careful accepting cables from strangers to charge your phone. This looks just like a standard USB charging cable, if you like. I could plug this into a power bank and then charge the phone. I don't even need to do that. I'm simply going to plug it in and show you what's possible, because this is not a standard USB cable. This is an OMG cable. This cable allows me to manipulate the phone. USB debugging hasn't been enabled on this phone. I haven't enabled developer options or anything else. It's a standard Samsung phone. What I've done on this iPhone is connect to an access point in the cable, and then I can open up a web browser and browse to a website running within the cable. And then I can load a script. In this example, I'll load a script from slot 5. I'm not going to touch the phone, but notice what happens when I run the script. So notice that photo was taken because I sent commands from my iPhone to the OMG cable that send commands to the phone.
So key things to note: no advanced option, nothing was done on the phone to enable it. It just works. And we had the majority of Android users, and this was targeted at Android, unfortunately. However, I am an iPhone user, and iPhone not safe either. So,
This is an iPhone 15. One of the advantages to an iPhone 15 is that you get a USB port on the phone, and you could use a standard USB cable as an example to charge your phone or connect it to a computer. But here I've got 3 USB-C cables, and they all look very, very similar. One of them, however, is an OMG cable. This cable has a built-in access point, so I can connect to it remotely using Wi-Fi. It acts like a charging cable. Notice, however, what I can do on this phone, and this has been tested up to a mile away. I can connect to the Wi-Fi access point running within this cable and then open up a web browser to the web server running within the cable. And what I can do now, as an example, is load a script from storage on the cable. I'm not going to touch the phone now, but I'm going to press build and run. And what you'll notice is the phone suddenly does something.
so you were cooled. All right, so you see, again, cable, no advanced options required, nothing needed to be done prior. And if you look at the bottom left, there's a picture of how inside the cable, inside the jack, actually looks. So you would have said that it is a little Wi-Fi. So you'd see it if someone has the OMG cable plugged in, you will be up to a mile away, right? And you'll actually see it as a Wi-Fi if you look on your phone that you could connect to. And you could run instructions on the cable on to that chip, and it will run it to the phone. Or we could go into the technical reasons, but it is based on inherent trust for those cables. All right, so at this point, you probably, hopefully, you're still awake, and my voice has not had that ASMR effect. But we'll take a 15-minute break, and we'll reconvene at, what's the time, guys? Okera? 15 minutes?
Yes, it's 11:01 right now, so at 11:16, guys.
All right. So when we come back, I think you probably get scared enough. We'll talk about steps for you to take to protect yourself. All right. When we left off, see, right. When we left off, we were gonna speak about some some items, not free, but well, it requires a little time, right? A little effort on your part, but some items you could do to protect yourself. Nice. All right. And obviously free is good, right? It just needs a little elbow grease. So, first things first, very easy, very simple. Basics. Keep your device updated. End of story, right? I think we finish. Probably go home now. But all right, so the core item is attackers need a vulnerability. They need to find a hole on your device. By keeping your devices updated, the manufacturers most times would plug these holes. Sorry. Right. So the manufacturers most times would plug these holes. And this could limit your exposure to again these attacks. Yeah. The chat keep popping up in the middle of the screen. Sorry guys. Right. So that's one, right? And the aim of the game is not, actually let me step back. I don't know if you know the story of the fox and the grapes. And if you don't know, for those of you who know, I'll just recap it, right? So there was a bunch of grapes at a height. And fox was trying to get the grapes at the height. So he kept jumping and jumping. And at the end of it, he jumped so many times and got tired. At the end of it, he said, you know what, them grapes sour. In the same way, what you are doing is trying to make your device sour, but not really, right? You're gonna try and make it not as appetizing because it requires more effort. And most times when unless the attacker is very determined, if it requires too much effort, most times they just say, all right, forget this one, let's move to the next one. Because it's a numbers game. The more they infect, the more they can make, right? So again, updating your phone is one of the simplest ways to limit that exposure. The second one would be to update your apps. Now, I, if you don't do it automatically, which you should, right? There's simple ways. You go into your Play Store, your App Store, click on your name, and there's updates there. But check for those updates again, because if those apps have flaws, there's a way for it to be used against you. And you'd see I have in my note there, turn on auto updates. Now the whole point is to take the guesswork out of it, right? You don't want to have to. You're already thinking about what to eat today. I had to go and change the gas, to do something else. Updating your phone should be secondary. So if you could turn on up the auto updates, it is much easier on you mentally, right? But the one thing I would ask you to do though is if you are doing auto updates on your apps and your phone, regularly do some checks. Go into settings, go to software, and check and see if there's an update, and see when was the last update. And this will kind of give you an idea of how often the manufacturer is updating the software, if the software is updated successfully as well, and if it's time to save and buy a new phone. Because if you're not getting software updates in 2012, I mean, yeah, it might be a sign, right? But it's just in good housekeeping for you. And as I said, 2012, older devices are more vulnerable to attack. And the reason is the manufacturers have stopped support for these for the devices, unfortunately. All right. As soon as it gets a bit too old, they say, you know what, we have more profitable means. And well, if you can, upgrade. But if you can't, at least follow some of these simple guides, right? These guidelines. All right, next topic. We'll talk about passwords. And what we'll look at is what type of passwords not to have. And then we'll talk about the real ones, right?
The matter is, we need to do a better job of protecting ourselves. You know, the most popular password in the United States is password 123. And as long as that's the case, we're vulnerable. So today we sent a camera out on Hollywood Boulevard to help people by asking them to tell us their password. And this is how that went.
We're talking about cybersecurity today and how safe people's passwords are. What is one of your online passwords currently?
It is my dog's name and the year I graduated from high school.
Oh, what kind of dog do you have?
I have a Chihuahua Papillon.
And what's its name?
Jameson.
Jameson. And where'd you go to school?
I went to school back in Greensburg, Pennsylvania.
What school?
Hempfield Area Senior High School.
Oh, when did you graduate?
In 2009.
Oh, great.
It's like my cat's name and then just like a random number.
Okay. As if you had this cat for a while?
Yeah, she's my childhood pet.
Aw. And what's her name?
Her name is Jolie.
Jolie. Mm-hmm. So like a password of yours would be Jolie and then a number.
Yeah.
Like number 1?
Like my birthday.
Oh, when is your birthday?
June 12th.
Oh, nice. And what year were you born?
95.
Oh, great. Mm-hmm. So Jolie, 6, 12, 95.
Yes.
Got it.
So you mean to give my password right now? No, I cannot do that.
But we all want to know what it is so we can tell you if it's strong or not.
Oh my goodness. Let me think. Okay, one is Tel Aviv. Yeah. 468, and then Israel. It's only 3, but it's for me it's strong enough.
Ireland, 1, 2, 3, 4. Gemma, 1, 2, 3. Spelled Gemma.
Well, most of them are Italian.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Like what's a good Italian password?
My grandma's name.
What's your grandma's name?
Maria.
Maria. So Maria is your password?
Oh yeah, now you know my password. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, the important thing is they learned a terrible lesson.
All right. Excuse me. Uh, so at least you see what not what passwords you shouldn't have, right? So good good rule of thumb. So again, another preventative measure, use strong passwords. And typically the password that is recommended is a mix of numbers, upper lowercase, and special characters. Now I have a little my recommendation to you in terms of passwords. I like using a phrase, and a phrase could be a long number of characters, and the phrase should be unique to you. So the example I give is what goes in is a local something that makes it all taste better, right? Hopefully you guys know that phrase. Anybody could probably write it in the chat if you know that phrase. But that's it's special to me, right? Because it's a special flavor meat to savor. All right, that's enough. I'll stop on that. Okay. So, uh, hopefully you all singing the song right now, right? And it reaching the crescendo. So, in with those phrases, with that phrase, you realize the kind of password that you could use. And so, what goes in is a local something, and you see in the example, you see I've changed the O to a zero, I've changed the E to an at, and the I in something to an exclamation point. Now this is just it's not random, but it's something that will be easy for you to remember. And if you know what your formula is, so changing certain letters, putting in certain characters, you realize it becomes easier to remember a password. And it is complex, right? In order to break this, and I'll I'll direct you to the right, where you see that little table. Now, attackers can use tools to try and guess your password. And these tools, based on if we look at the numbers column, up to 11 characters, they could break or they could determine what the password is in almost instantly using those tools. If they use lowercase letters, you at the same 11 character password, it'll take around 32 minutes, but that's still very short, right? Now we add in a mix of upper and lower case letters, takes about a month. And as we go down, the more letters and numbers that you put in, it becomes even more challenging to be able to break or to determine what your password is. Now, going back to the example I gave as a strong password, there's a lot more characters. There's over 20 something characters in that password. But if I were to say to you, can you remember your password? It's not a mishmash of different letters and numbers. It is something that makes sense. So you could type this password anyway, and you know what it is. So let me be a little honest. Before in the last session, before in our first part, I wasn't seeing the chat, and now chat is popping up. So someone was saying they was hungry. Okay. All right. So I hope you understand. It makes it easier for you to remember, but also makes your password more complex. So next point is don't reuse your password. And this is more true than not. The if you use your password, let's say the same password here is for your emails and or your bank, right? And then you use that same password. Actually, let me preface this. Most times, Google or your different email providers, as long as they're reputable and they follow certain legislations or laws, they're supposed to store your password in a way that they cannot determine what the password is. So when they store your password, on their sites, on their databases, what instead of they seeing what, they might see 3FA B B09 something, right? They'll see a string, and that's called a hash. So with that hash, they can't determine exactly what they can't tell you or reverse what the password is. You could find comparison, but they can't, right? Now, when you use these passwords on some on sites, there's a you are not sure if they are storing your password in a hash where the password is not readable, or they store it in a clear, so they see it as it is. So if you type what goes in as your password, they will see that plain as day. Now think about when you sign up for a forum or some other sites. They ask you for your username, and then they'll ask you for your email. In most cases, they'll ask you for your email, and they'll ask you this is the password. If they are not setting, sorry, if they are not um, storing your password in a hash, you realize that you've already given them your login for your email. Now, let's say you use the same password for your bank, and they test your bank account with your email and your password. That's all the steps we've taken have become null and void, right? Because we've just basically given them. So we use a complex password, something unique, a very strong, and we just give them easily the keys to the. I was gonna say keys to the kingdom, but keys to your kingdom. The, um, so this is my recommendation to you, right? And as I'm looking at password managers, how I usually divide my passwords is the most sensitive passwords are not stored. I know what those phrases are, and they mean something to me. Nobody actually knows it because it's things you would have learned in school. Oh, this is a nice phrase. I'm not sure if you all learned this in primary school, but heights of great men reached and kept. That was an old poem we would have learned. But those are unique items. But coming back to the core passwords I know that I have for my main services. I use a password manager for a lot of different forums. So things I don't mind if it was to be lost, it doesn't affect me as much, right? Two-factor we'll talk about in a few minutes, but a great layer of security. So hopefully you understand the concept of how to secure your passwords. So talking now about protecting against fake apps. How do you spot fake apps? And we talk about the flashlight having the ability to call another flashlight. I don't know, you know. So checking on it when you go into the store, pull back a little bit. You know, curb your enthusiasm. Just 2 minutes. Candy Crush or well, I don't know what you guys play, but Candy Crush. I'll use as an example. You can wait 2 seconds before you click on that. First check, just scroll a little bit down on the window. Look for the developer. Is the developer the and this is not only specific to Candy Crush, right? Look at the developer if they have and you could do a little reading on them quick. Just type in the developer on a search engine. See what feedback you get. Are they legit? Are they not? The next thing to do is look at the reviews for the app. So if there's a lot of reviews saying this is scams, a lot of times people will actually put that into the chat and let you know, right? Look at downloads. Now, why should Instagram, but in this case, Instagram, right? Instagram, but Instagram with the N. Why should Instagram, that Instagram is so popular, have 10 downloads? That's a red flag. So if you look at that and you see the numbers do add up, right? Then you know something is wrong. This is what I keep talking about with the permissions, flashlight Sudoku. if it is asking for too much, why should a game need access to my to obviously some games might need your microphone. You'll know, right? But why should it have if it's not Pokemon Go, it shouldn't have. I don't know if anybody's still sure you also play it, but um it should have camera access. It should have certain other yeah, maybe a red flag. But if it's asking to make calls or do something that is way beyond the scope of what you think the game should be or the app should need, then that's another flag. Maybe check and see if that specific app is bad. Now, I don't know if you guys know about side loading, and this is really about loading applications from different sites instead of the Google and the Apple Play Store. These stores do a lot of work to keep the store clean. I mean, they falter sometimes, right? But stick stick to those stores if in most cases, unless you trust the author, right? Then again, the updates keep your phone updated, and these as we would have discussed before. Now, if you do have a fake app, first thing, yeah, pull the plug on it, get rid of it immediately, right? Um, so uninstall it, and then you could go into your Google account. You could go into your different the sign-in accounts. Make sure that nothing is trying to sign in to those devices or to your accounts there. And we'll talk about security software just now. And again, I'll plug Zone Alarm. But if you have security software, run a scan to determine if you have any malware. So phishing, I know we've said this and I'll say it again, right? Think before you click. Do a little inspection on those links. Yeah, again, at the end of this presentation, you might be a bit more paranoid, but stay paranoid. It is not a safe, it is not a safe cyber world out there. But so check those links, compare them. Just just take a deep breath before you click on it. I know the time constraint is a factor, but by you taking a step back, looking at it, could save you a lot of headache. Now, two-factor authentication, or the main term is multi-factor authentication, and it requires 3 points, right? There's something multi-factor says it's something you know, something you have, and something you are. And what is used for is to authenticate you. So something you know is a password. So you know your password. So we've gone in with our what goes in, right, as our password. Now something you have, and if you look to the bottom right, you'd see an authenticator app. And that app it generates something called a token. And that token is a random number of a random set of numbers that's generated every 60 seconds. So when you authenticate, you have your username, your password, and then they'll ask you for the token. Now that token is something, as I said, you will have. And something you are for multi-factor is your biometrics. So whether it's your retina, is your thumbprint, those are things you are, right? In most cases, two-factor is fine, is good, is great, and we're not dealing with top secret classified information, although it's personal, right? So the two-factor, this app, you have a few of them. There's OT. There's well, I know OT. A few from Google. There's a few from Microsoft as well, and some other trusted companies that you could grab on. It is one of the biggest um, stumbling blocks if you get phished. And why I say that, if the attackers steal they manage to get your email and your password without having the token, they can't log in. So in the cases where you know someone who had their social medias, their socials hacked, the attacker in those cases, they would log into the account and then change the password. But by adding two-factor or the token, they enter your username and password, they can't get past the token because they need to be able to have that to log into the account. Now, staying safe on public Wi-Fi's. We saw that little lock, right? And they said if you see the lock, it's secure. So that I disagree with that point. That lock it just says that between you, and I'll use Google as the example. If you go to Google or to my site DuckDuckGo, right? If you go to the site from your computer to that site, all the traffic is within something called a tunnel. So it means if I type in my name as Travi and it goes is going into Google, in the case where that lock is not present or the attacker was sniffing, they will trying to see what data I'm sending, they would see Travi. But within a tunnel, what they will see is AB 10509. They'll see a mess of different numbers and characters. So it will not be the actual data. And what that tunnel is considered is called as an encrypted tunnel. So between myself with that lock there, when that lock is present, it means that between me and the site I'm using, again, Google as the example, all the traffic is encrypted. So they're not able to see it in plain text as I type. So this is a clear sign that, all right, it is partially okay to send your data there. Now, if you do join the public Wi-Fi, you get something called a certificate. You are asked to install a certificate. Yeah, hold up. Don't accept that. Those will allow the attacker to break that lock. You would see the lock still present, but they would be able to actually see data in the tunnel now. So the tunnel will exist, but by you installing their certificate, you basically give them a pipe inside. So where the tunnel might have gone from you to Google Street, basically form a T, right? The attacker is here and they could actually get the traffic there. Now VPNs or virtual private networks allow you to establish a tunnel when you're in public Wi-Fi or anywhere. I'm sure you guys know some of the popular ones, right, from YouTube videos and the guys who would advertise these VPNs, how to keep safe on the internet, right? The VPN allows you to have a connection out to the internet across that tunnel. So there, thank you, Maravali. See, yes. um, it allows you to have that tunnel and have that encryption again across. So it prevents the attacker there. But again, you still need to be mindful of not installing the certificate. If you have to join and you don't have VPNs, you don't have you're not seeing you're not sure about it, you don't need to pay the bill there unless time running out, right? But you would know what is sensitive to you, how time sensitive it is. Don't check your bank. Um, these are ways you can lose your your credentials. And if you don't need to use Wi-Fi, turn it off. And an very interesting thing about Wi-Fi, if your home Wi-Fi is named home Wi-Fi, exactly home Wi-Fi, the space there, right? So home space Wi-Fi. If you go somewhere else, let's say you in north, you come central, and somebody has home Wi-Fi, you've never connected to this person's Wi-Fi before, your phone will automatically connect. And with that, it will start to send messages across to the internet to try and synchronize. Again, this is possible ways they could get information from you. If you remember from the example, the hacker had put wicked free Wi-Fi, which was a Wi-Fi they had in the newsroom, and he put wicked free Wi-Fi, and people automatically connected. This is similar in Wi-Fi. So physical security for your mobile device. 1111 is not a secure passcode to enter your phone, right? Neither 0001234. Try and mix it up. Do not use your birthday. Everybody and your nene and your grandmother, everybody know who your birthday is, and everybody on Facebook, Instagram, because everybody telling you happy birthday. If I were to try to unlock your phone, the first thing I go and do is look on your socials. When is your birthday? All right. Um, what's her with Jolie's birthday was June 9th. Was it June 9th? On 9th June? 6th June. Or 6/19, right? So I put in 6995 or something like that as password. Use something that's unique, some old number. Again, that nobody could guess, or use a formula. But remember to write down the formula if you could, or find some way to remember this, right? In the airports, I do leave my bags unattended because, and I'm sure you do as well, because somebody will put something inside there. You reach in the UK or somewhere in the world, and you end up on that the airport story show where they when they catch you uh, transporting. I don't want to be that guy, right? So I go with my bags. If I go in the bathroom, if I go in and buy anything, I'm walking up the stairs, going down the stairs, my bag with me. The same thing if you're leaving your phone to charge somewhere, hopefully with a good cable, by the way. Um, just press the little power button. Most phones auto lock once you press that power button. Leave it locked, leave it secure. Um, Macos or shoulder slippers is the correct term, right? But we know them as Macos. So if in crowded places, people will look over and attack. This is a lot. This is a way that attackers actually get more data on you. They look over your shoulder and be able to see what you're typing as your password. Be cautious of these guys, even when you're using your phone to pay bills or anything and you're on mobile data. Obviously, you want people to see how much money you have, right? And of course, be careful of the cables you use. From what we saw, the OMG cables, right? So let me see. I'll skip this mobile security software and I'll give you a pop quiz quickly. Oh, no, actually, I'll skip the pop quiz. So sorry, guys. I'm looking at the time. But what I'll do is, yeah, I'll show you. This is our mobile security software, and it is Zone Alarm, as I would have said before, right? What we do, when you select our software, I know you've seen Zone Alarm here, but when you select our software, um, look for ones that have antivirus that able to prevent malware. Look at one that could safeguard your identity and your own and your online privacy. Phishing protection definitely adds. So Zone Alarm and some other solutions, they look at those text links that you get to help tell you, hey, this is phishing, this is not phishing. So look for security solutions that do that. Also, look at those that look to protect your privacy. And as I said before, here is the link to get our solution. And if you see the activation code, once you check the QR code, right? But when you go scan that QR code, it will take you to get.zonealarm.com/extreme. And this is where you can get our software. It will ask you, it'll prompt you to enter the code for the license. All right. And if you want, take a picture, screenshot. So now I'll turn it back to Okera.
Yes, yes, yes. I was just
Yeah.
trying to take a picture of the license for myself there.
Okay.
Let me take a picture of that.
All right.
All
If you
right.
want, I'll drop. So let me type this in chat for you guys. Now, there's a limited amount, so it's a type of first come, first serve there. So you go to actually, I'll do a screenshot for you guys as well. Step off.
Let me write this down.
All right. And yeah, so questions, guys?
Yes, so we do have quite a few questions that I would have noted from the chat. So let's start that off. So first question coming in from Stacy and Samaru Ramrup. This was in relation to public Wi-Fi. So she wanted to know, is this how random companies get our information and are able to flood us with spam?
Yeah. So we act if you notice, we actually volunteer some of that email to her. You go and you enter a random site. There's most of us bypass that checkbox to send to uncheck and say I don't want to see promotional and all these other stuff. Um, but you are correct when the question you asked in that context. Yes, if they take your data, I personally have gotten my email online, and yeah, I get a lot of spam too. So yes, they will.
Okay, excellent. There's also a question from Sherelle Mohammed. She wanted to know if I'm using a regular charger cable and plug it into an infected laptop or computer, can that affect my mobile device?
It can. Well, it's two ways. If the device is able to cross that bridge, and what I mean by that, if it does have some layers or features within the malware that can that speaks to your phone or able to speak the language that your phone speaks, yeah, it could be possible.
Okay,
But
interesting to know.
yeah, but again, I mean, ways to protect yourself, have a good endpoint solution or the most common term for it is antivirus, right? If you have a good one, this same zone alarm is built for desktops as well. If you have something like that, it should be able to prevent the malware. But the key point to note is if the malware speaks Android language or speaks iPhone language, yeah, it could infect. Now, there's a little added layer to this that you could expand on, right? And I don't want to go too technical. If the attacker or if the malware that's on your machine is communicating back with the attacker and they have access to your machine, they could infect the phone too. But it is a scenario. If you have something like that, yeah, you'd want to clean up.
Okay, thank you so much. We have another question from Claire O'Connor. Well, she had two questions, but I'll go with her first one. How to remove my information from the dark web if my phone has been compromised?
That one is a hard one. If it's on the dark web, yeah, there are companies that try to do it, but they replicate it so fast. So unfortunately, that may not be possible unless you have a lot of money and a lot of resources. If you could do like that guy from Taken, right? Yeah, I will find you. Unfortunately, but the thing with the internet, and I think most of us, some of us don't realize anything you post on the internet is not easy to take back off. So anything anywhere, not only the dark web.
Okay. And she also has another question, which I think is also very interesting. So, can the Apple Watch or Samsung watches, or I guess any of these
The
smartwatches, I would
smartwatches, yeah.
be hacked when disconnected from their respective devices and then infect the phone when reconnected?
So I think I saw that question. That's a very good question. I can't tell you for certain, right? I could go based on how they operate. Or they have communications. Uh, they use Bluetooth. They use different technologies to communicate. If someone were to be able to speak the language of the device, the watch, both the watch and the phone speak Android, right? It could be possible, but I can't tell you conclusively. I'd have to read and tell you that for sure. But they just based on if it's not connected to the phone and it's based on the how they. I'm going to get too technical, but based on how they speak, it could be possible. But me personally, I haven't researched around those lines yet. But I would say if you do have the time, yeah, please go read up on it. And if we ever meet, you could probably give me a conclusive answer. But
Okay, no problem.
but I know I'll be reading tonight though. So thanks for that, Clint.
Thanks for that. There's another question from Anne Marie George. She wants to know, are cameras, and I'm guessing cameras from any sort of device, are cameras being used to record individuals without their knowledge? And can this be done even if the equipment is turned off?
Yes, and I shake my head, yes. The cameras, if you note, cameras nowadays on newer machines. If I don't know if you're joining from a laptop or you're using a newer camera, they now have a light that says they are on when they're recording, right? Years ago, it never used to be as such. You would have had your camera on and you don't even know it's on. Now, in terms of you being unknown, this is an indication that uh, that the this is an indication that manufacturers have taken note that it is possible to record and the user doesn't know, right? Now, to bypass this light is a easy is not I don't want to say it's easy, but it does involve a few steps. So you could be recorded and you don't even know the camera is on because the light is not on, and this is for newer nowadays cameras. Years ago, when they didn't have the light, you had no way. The similar type of attacks you would have seen in the malware, true malware, right? They uh, there's a few videos of it online where they were recording um, unsuspecting victims and using it against them. So yeah, unfortunately. So try and keep your device up to date. Make sure you have a good antivirus and something that will be able to help limit the exposure to it. And most I do have it here on me now. I wish some of us were in person. We have those camera covers. New cameras have the covers. If you can
Yes.
put a piece of tape. That's what I used to do back in the in the 2010s, early times. Cover the cameras. And I know my daughter, she has her cameras covered on, uses it only when she needs to. With tape, by the way.
All right. We have quite a few more questions as well. I'll take just a few more because I know we're almost to the end of the session. I'm seeing Sarai Purnell from Marvel Access Center. She's asking, or she or he, my apologies there. If so, are there any instances where hackers have used the personal data via different methods like Wi-Fi, OMG chargers, etc., has been used for good? I'm not sure.
Yeah. So I'll give you a real nice example. There's a guy I look at online. He is uh he's a very good hacker. And what he's done is he's stolen data to helped close down a lot of child well, rings associated with illicit material to children. So that's one really good case. So if you it's a kind of scrawny looking dude, right? Real intelligent. If you can contribute to that, he's good. There's several other guys across or globally who've taken the information. Um, I'll give you one locally, very close at heart, right? There was a guy who hacked some of the ministry's website. They defaced them locally, and hackers hacked that hacker. And our company was actually the one who brought them in. Checkpoint. We were able to help find them and take them down. So on behalf of Trinidad government.
Interesting. We also have another question from Brenton Chang. He's saying, why are companies still using SMS in 2024 when it is proven to be so susceptible?
No, but not only SMS, right? These smishing could be used via WhatsApp or any kind of chat. But SMS again is, I think that was a comment, right? But SMS is really, if you don't have data, it is a way to use the cell phone networks to transmit messages. So there are some places.
Okay, excellent. He had a few other pieces of his question as well that were a bit specific. He asked, have you heard of the SS7 vulnerability? What
Yeah,
are some
we go.
good? Yeah.
We're going into more telecoms based item there. So if
Oh, okay.
we should we should really take that a little, I don't know, another offline, but if we ever meet we could talk about SSM. But that is more telecoms based.
Okay, no problem. I'll probably do two more questions again, but before I also do that, I would have just shared the feedback, the link to the feedback survey in the chat as well. So before you guys file out of the session, please uh, click the link. We'd really appreciate your feedback there. So I would have shared that in the chat. I'll probably share it again once more just so that you'll have it. So this is the feedback survey for today's session. So I have a question coming in here from Anton Barkley. He's asking, do you foresee artificial intelligence as one of the biggest challenges to mobile security for users and organizations in the near future?
So I see it in both ways. No, I love the research and where it's going, right? AI, it is not specific. AI not specific to mobile only. Any industry, cybersecurity wise. If you know a few years ago, Chat GPT at I think version 1, and some of the AI strands, you could ask AI to generate phishing that was close to very realistic. It you were compelled. You could ask ChatGPT or any those AI before, those trained before, to generate malware, and malware that was morphic, right? It could change forms. It is going to be a powerful attacker, but I also see it as a powerful defender. As fast as you can attack, AI will be able to interpret and reassess and protect as well. I would see that from the standpoint of us as Checkpoint. So a lot of our solutions we use a lot of AI engines. We have been doing so for many years, right? This is one of the secret sauce that we have that has been protecting our clients. But in terms of where the impact it will have, it'll be major. Just based on the things that you can do with it right now, and infection rates could go up or it could go down depending on um, how you take it.
Okay, no problem. Before I pass on to Ajay for closing remarks, I'm seeing in the chat a lot of persons are having issues with the activation
With the
code.
code?
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
All right, let me stop share. I'll just check my mail quickly, right? Just to make sure. I want to make sure you guys test it out. And I mean, it's now, Okera, is it possible for the attendees? They should have contacts for you, all right?
I don't know if they'll have contact for me, but Ajay,
At
do they
least
have it?
to reach you guys, because if and I mean the team and I we worked hard. We worked to make sure that you guys
Mhm.
got these licenses. So if it's not
Yes,
working, I could go and check it back. I
yeah, I
actually
think it's
check it.
working.
It is
Yeah,
working.
For some people, I'm seeing some persons are just clarifying for somebody
Oh, thank
participating capital O and not a zero.
Okay.
So,
I'm not trying to fish you all, right? I know you all would have seen the 2 zeros before. All right, good.
okay, no problem. So I think that's the end of questions and answers. I don't want to go too long. I know there were so many different questions, but this was an amazing session. I'll now like to introduce again Ajay Miraj to give closing remarks on behalf of the MDT.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out today. I sat here for the entire presentation. It was fun. It was engaging. Travis, I'd like to thank you especially on behalf of the Ministry of Digital Transformation for facilitating this session today. I saw some notable names from Checkpoint, including Mr. Ernesto Castillo here, joining in on the presentation. So thank you very much, everyone, for your attendance. Thank you to the Access Center staff. Trinidad and Tobago, let's make the place more digitally aware in terms of cybersecurity. And have a great end of your weekend. And we look forward to seeing you all in further sessions coming up. All right. Thank you.
Thanks so much for that, Ajay. And just a reminder, again, remember the feedback form, everyone. We've shared it in the chat. Remember, we are counting on your feedback so that we can continue to make these sessions even more valuable and beneficial to you moving forward. So thanks so much. Have a great Saturday, everyone.